Hello, hello. We have a new chapter of One Piece. This one is very late because I forgot it came out. It was weird. I read all the other Weekly Shonen Jump chapters, and then I was like, oh, I should make a One Piece video, and then it just like completely disappeared from my mind. But that's okay. Better late than never. Very excited to continue reading this arc with everyone and giving my thoughts and speculations and stuff because shit is crazy. One Piece is just so crazy right now. Oda is just taking all the brakes off and giving us everything we could want all at once, always. This one is called The Weight of Memory. Uh, the chapter, the cover story arc is getting insane. We see here, it looks like artificial devil fruits, mad scientist concoctions. This is still the flashback of Mads, the bizarre science research group. I think this is still the flashback because Caesar Clown doesn't look like that anymore. That's like young Caesar Clown. And in the back is young Queen, I guess, pre-cyborg Queen. And it looks like they're wheeling and dealing, but maybe killing and villaining too. Hard to kind of judge what is happening here exactly. I guess they're all just showing off their own weapons of slaughter. I see. Okay. Even if the world doesn't agree, I know that she is a living, breathing person, a true and undeniable human being. It was a success. I am certain of it, and this is one great step towards the creation of world peace. So we immediately go from the flashback of Mads into another flashback of Mads. Just a textual flashback note from Vegapunk's time back in that previous laboratory. And then we see Bonnie, childized, after chasing down Vegapunk, but it's a trick! Making herself into a crying little brat to lower his guard and then whack him with a steel pipe again. Distorted future. Interesting. So, we haven't really seen Bonnie fight that much. She's actually been pretty involved in the plot and is always, causing chaos. But we haven't actually seen her have to engage in, like, 1v1 combat. So it looks like she can not only age herself up, but age herself up into different possible futures, kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And here she's found a future in which she's like super muscle bound and can really give him a good whack. Okay, interesting. Age skewer. What? So she can de-age and plus age other people as well. It seems like we've seen her do stuff kind of like that in the past. And here she knocks the age out of Vegapunk, making him into a little kid. His age spills out of him as an assortment of fruits and parts and stuff. I gotta respect this about Oda. He keeps it weird. Even in a situation of the plot where a lot of like the age-old mysteries of One Piece are finally being revealed, what is the devil fruit? What is a bloodline element? We're getting glimpses of the answers of this. It seems like Oda is really pushing us towards there being some grand unified theories of the science of the world of One Piece. And then at the same time, he's doing stuff like this. And could there ever be any sort of consistent explanation that explains why Vegapunk's age spills out of his stomach as a bunch of shiny fruits and stars and stuff? No, I don't think so. I think Oda is just willing to get real weird with it still. And the more things he explains, the more mysteries he wants to add. Turn me into a powerless child. Give back the sparkling gems of my experience. So they're like experience points, kind of? Like he just de-leveled or whatever? My powers don't work on living things indefinitely. Okay, sure. Good bit of relevant information. Why did you kill my father? If I tell you, then you'll... If I tell you why, Bonnie, it will only hurt you. So, we can speculate a little bit. In fact, I think it's kind of clear that they were willing to, or Kuma was willing to subjugate himself to the cyborgization process and to sell himself to the world government. In exchange, they secretly implanted him with this fail-safe program that they could activate that will return him to his original mission, which is, of course, the destruction of the world government in alliance with the Revolutionary Army, which seems to be what's happened here. Is he just going straight to Marijois to rampage? Is he still heading to Egghead Island? Can't he paw fruit facing down and fly upwards? Maybe if he does that, he launches into space and he can't help it. I don't know. He's climbing the red line. I made a promise to Kuma that I would never tell you the reason why. Had a good reason for killing my father, but why can't you tell me? I'm some kind of idiot. The decision to take away his free will came from none other than Kuma himself. Never choose to die and leave me behind. Don't even want to remember it. I love the design of baby Vegapunk, by the way. It's so cute. I was still sticking his tongue out all the time like Einstein. Okay. So, it's from my theory, it seems like he did it so he could become truly undercover in the world government, like a Manchurian candidate, but not even he would know that he was secretly disloyal. And you might say, oh, that's overkill. Can't he just pretend? Can't he just swear whatever oaths and stuff? But, you know, this is the world of One Piece. There could be a government agent with the truth fruit, that if they look at you, you have to tell the truth, right? Or any number of things like this, right? They have to go above and beyond the safeguards of normal human willpower. So, I don't know. I'm still thinking it could be something that simple. But the amount that they've built it up now towards this, I hope, full-on Kuma flashback really suggests, I think, that maybe it's a little more elaborate than that. Kuma is a great man. I'm proud of my good friend. I love him with all my heart. That is why I cannot tell you. Please, Bonnie, you must understand. Just beating up this poor kid. They're firing away. The Marines are here trying to shoot down Kuma, frantically radioing in on the Den Mushi. Oh, did I ever tell you my theory? I think I did. But as soon as we learned about all this Ancient Kingdom technological advanced stuff, my mind instantly thought, this explains the Den Mushi. That they're actually just like an artificial species that was created by the Ancient Kingdom that could do all this sorts of wonderful telecommunication stuff. And that in the centuries since, it's evolved to just be an actual life form that exists on its own and just lives naturally in the wild. But that's why it's so crazy. That's why it can do all that stuff, is that it was originally something built that evolved into like a creature. It's my theory. I don't think it's a crazy theory. Probably other people have proposed it. But I really hope that gets validated. Because I think that would just be so cool. Ooh. So the Marines are maybe calling Egghead Island? Oiled shock. Did she just make the handle get really old so that she could break through the lock? Is this Kuma's consciousness? Because before, remember, he pushes the pain, fatigue, and suffering out of Luffy. And it just becomes this big bear paw balloon, right? In the infamous, powerful, famous for a reason scene where Zoro takes on all the pain himself. So this could be Kuma's personality, consciousness, memories, feelings, everything from before he was made into a government robot. That he pushed them out of himself and stored it here for safekeeping. And maybe Bonnie jumps in and then we Kuma flashback somehow? But that doesn't seem good. He probably wants those. Probably wants them back eventually. Scholar in the West Blue once said that people lose 21 grams of weight after they die. In other words, that is the weight of the human soul. I don't want to go on a long tangent. This is something that people say in real life too. People claim that there was some study that found this. It's not true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anyone whose faith had been partially based on that, but there is no mysterious reduction that happens after death. It's all just the normal processes of the body wasting away. There's nothing that's unaccounted for. Sorry. It's interesting that Oda references that here because it's like a. I don't think it ever like blew up into the mainstream. I've never seen like a movie based around it or anything, but I've heard it cited in a lot of situations, and it's just not true. Anyways, your power is to take pain supposedly invisible and give it form so they can be foisted off into others. It's like sending the peripheral nervous system signals via radio instead. So what about the mind and heart then? Mental images, memories. Things are emitted by neurons. How heavy are they? How big? You want me to embarrass myself? Okay. So this is crazy, because this must be how the Vegapunk mind works, right? That Vegapunk has done this to himself to have his mind in the centralized location so it can be gigantic and ever expanding, and then have everything else radio into it, right? This is wild. Because the pushing out of the pain was like one of the weirdest things in One Piece, honestly. And it's overlooked, I think, because it's such an amazing moment. It's so emotional. It's so intense that I think people don't give it enough thought in terms of that's pretty friggin' weird that Kuma's able to push. Because One Piece is pretty material. It's pretty grounded in material reality, which sounds insane. But there is no real, like, magic in the world of One Piece. There's always some sort of consistent explanation, even if it is, you know, very flimsy or whimsical or whatever. Something like... You can always say a devil fruit did it, right? It's never just like... It just happened. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. Haki did it. It's never just it happened, but Haki did it. And I feel like the pushing out of the pain, it just, I don't know, it was like an outlier in terms of like how connected the explanations of One Piece usually are. And here we're getting not only like a little bit of an explanation of that, but it's like explaining a lot of other things too. So Kuma pushing his memories out. Also, I just love this shot of pre-transformation Kuma expressing more emotion than we've ever seen from him before, because it's before he pushed out his personality from his brain, I guess. He looks badass. You can infer so much of his personality just from this. And he's got the bear ears. Why does he have the bear ears? Saying, do you want me to embarrass yourself? Holy moly. Okay. He pushes out his memories. It's pain. Enough pain to be lethal. Not for Zoro. My powers very well. So they manage to shoot him down. He starts firing off paw fruit explosions. It's my father's memory, isn't it? Okay. Meanwhile, there's a full-on raid happening of the Labo phase. The odds are worse than that. The Seraphim have reached us too. Oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. 2 against 7. The enemy is all elite units. Seraphim are equipped with just enough personality to make decisions for themselves according to the circumstances of battle. Sense the brief window when the barrier is down. We have the higher... Okay. So they can out-prioritize CP0, tell the Seraphim to fight against CP0 instead, unless CP0 somehow already got a hold of the Five Elders. Okay. This is wild. This is one of the very few times that any character actually speaks the word One Piece. And it's Sanji making a really tasteless joke about Zoro dying. The Sanji Fim. Twirly Fim. Oh my lord. Okay. So big fight. This could really be the climactic fight of this whole arc. I still think there's more mysteries. Who's destroying the ships that leave Egghead? What's this deal with the Kuma flashback? It looks like that one we're going to get resolved sooner than later. But in terms of the actual battles on this island, I don't see it reaching a higher tension than this. Where'd Luffy end up, by the way? What's he doing? He's supposed to look like a giraffe. Rematch! Okay, a rematch of one of my favorite fights in the entire series. I just love the Zoro-Kaku fight. It just has it all, man. Just like the way their personalities clash, all the little moments of humor of Kaku can't figure out how to use his fruit, and he's trying to explain why the legs got longer when he retracted his head. Because I can do all sorts of things with this power. And they're just like quiet for a bit. And then he just does the same thing again. Does the same attack. Oh man, it's so good. And then Zoro's just like insane determination. He gets huge power up. He gets one of his weirdest powers. Again, something that's a huge outlier in terms of like consistency of explanation in One Piece. Alright, whatever. Sure, okay. It's crazy, dude. These are rematches from like when I was first like really getting into One Piece. I've been reading One Piece since I was a little kid, and I would read it in Weekly Shonen Jump. Monthly Shonen Jump, the American localization of it. And then at some point, I was too impatient, and I realized I could read it online. And at that point, they were in like Thriller Bark, so I kind of read all the way up to Thriller Bark. And then for a while it was like inconsistent because I kind of burnt myself out reading all of it, and I wasn't reading week by week until closer to like Sabaody. But anyways, I can remember when I was reading Ainz Lobby. That's when it like really hit me. Like, this is my favorite manga. Like, I am so much more invested into this than I have been for any other comic series ever. So going back to these Ainz Lobby fights, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild emotionally. Killerman Gyro, very good. Just got done fighting plenty of wriggling things back at Wano. This one is getting tired. Okay, so he can still command the Seraphim for now. They're firing all their lasers. They somehow have their Devil Fruit powers, even as Seraphim. The Hawk Seraphim cutting a big slice off the top of the lab. Huh? Oh? Whoa? Huh? So, what? Okay, so I did call part of this. Remember there was the cover page with Mads? I said, that looks like Stussy. I bet Stussy was undercover back with them that whole time. Because she's just always been sleuthing around undercover. And then at the start of this chapter, Vegapunk is talking about the first successful human clone. She represents a huge step forward for peace. We know that Vinsmoke had the cloning project going on, and the Seraphim seem to be the result of some sort of cloning projects. And now we see this is wild. This Man, I don't know. I guess because I was just thinking about when I first started reading One Piece. I was thinking back to, like, I don't know, like the Usopp arc. Just fighting some pirates. And now I'm like, well, there was this cloning project and this cloning project. So we can imagine that this was like a prototype of this cloning project. Oh, good lord. Wild, wild, wild. So the original Stussy was in the Rocks Pirates, which is crazy. And she seems to have some sort of vampire devil fruit. Or just is a vampire? Or is a Lunarian vampire or something? Crazy, crazy. Okay, very good. Lots to think about. I'll see you next week, sooner than later, because this one's really late. Hee hee, bye bye.